Hi, welcome back. We call this Terrible Tuesday because of how tired we always are. We may not be awake, but the tropics are, Mary. My goodness.
The tropics are like, this is terrific Tuesday.
Yeah.
We're really active.
There's two of us out there. Let's go.
The tropics are awake. Let's get a look at what's going on, which it is unusual to have two in June. Let's get a look at what's going on, though. You can see we have tropical storm number 3. It doesn't officially have the name of Cindy yet. We're waiting on that update. We had one at 5 a.m., so I'll let you know when we get our next update if it's finally named. I've been waiting on it. Just hasn't happened yet. We also have Brett, which is hanging out just south of the Windward Islands. It's been moving through, giving them heavy rain, gusty wind. It continues its track to the west. Not a threat to us. That's an issue for the Southern Caribbean. Looking at our tropical satellite, this tropical storm 3 hanging out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. The reason it doesn't have the name Cindy yet, it just doesn't have that circulation the way we want to see it. It's kind of elongated. A lot of the moisture is on the east side of the storm, so it's not as organized as we would like to see in order to name it, but it's still packing a punch. It's still got wind sustained at 40 miles per hour, and it's still going to be impacting parts of Louisiana and Texas. That's where the center will be moving, and they do have tropical storm watches and warnings in effect, and pretty much the entire Gulf Coast from the Panhandle of Florida through Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi going to be impacted by that tropical moisture. 40-mile-per-hour wind, and you can see how displaced the center is. It'll jog to the northwest and then curve back around. We'll be watching it carefully. For us, though, the effects just are a little bit of enhanced tropical moisture in our neck of the woods. That's all we're seeing. Tropical storm Brett heads off to the west. 40-mile-per-hour winds. It's not doing much, and by Thursday, looks like it's going to really start to dissipate. Here in Southwest Florida, we do have some moisture offshore. That's pretty. Welcome back. I'm Week News meteorologist Mary Mays. It's been a pretty busy morning in the Weather Center. We have the tropics heating up. We have rain on the way for the rest of your Father's Day. A lot going on. Let's get into it. 2 areas of interest. We're watching both pretty carefully, but this one just off the Yucatan, that is our main concern right now. This has a good chance of development, a high chance over the next 5 days, and a pretty good chance actually in the next 48 hours. The National Hurricane Center is thinking if we do see a tropical storm, it'll be probably late Monday into Tuesday when it does officially develop. But you can see that the thunderstorm activity is starting to increase in this area right here. The low pressure still is not quite organized. It's not a closed low yet, but it's going to be moving north into the Gulf of Mexico, really northwest and then north into the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to hit warm water, and that's going to be where we could start to see the development. So once it gets there, we'll have a better idea of what it's going to be doing, but we're watching it carefully. Looking at this on future track, this is what's going on. So tomorrow, notice it's trying to get its act together. The main concern for us is that this is going to pull in a lot of tropical moisture into the area. So for the first half of the work week, we could be looking at a lot of rain. The thing is, the models are keeping this west of us. So even if we do get a tropical storm out of this, it's likely to be off to the west. And once again, if we do see that, it looks like Tuesday might be the day. At least that's what's showing up on future track here. Looks like it's strengthening on Tuesday, but it is still pretty far west of us. But we're still going to be under the influence of tropical moisture, and that could mean a lot of rain for us, and that's why we are watching that very carefully. Still a question mark with that forecast. You're going to want to tune in. We'll give you the latest updates
This morning.
I know.
Yeah, just admiring this beautiful picture behind us. Is that the pier there?
It is, and it looks great. I really want to just jump in the water right now. Too bad I'm working, and that wouldn't be good because you guys want your forecast. Let's get a check on what's going on here in Southwest Florida. You know, speaking of beaches, if you're going to Sanibel, that's what the causeway looks like right now. Not too crowded just yet, but I expect it'll be pretty crowded later on today because this isn't a bad beach forecast, especially by rainy season standards. We've got isolated afternoon storms instead of scattered, so it's going to be maybe a little bit drier than what we usually see. The scattered activity is actually going to build in around lunchtime. So we do have scattered storms in the forecast eventually. They're just going to be a little bit later on than what we're used to. 87 at noon, 90 at 3 o'clock. Enjoy it. We'll have a southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour and water temperature 86. Now this morning things are looking pretty quiet. I've been monitoring this to see if there's any rain. It's all been offshore this morning and moving to the northwest. Now the rest of today you'll start to see hit or miss showers and storms developing. It starts inland, pushes a little bit closer toward the coast, but it is hit or miss. That means this afternoon a lot of you won't see rain at all, and if you do see some rain, just head inside and it should be over shortly. That might change though as we head into the evening hours. After dinner time, things get a little scattered and we see that extra activity into the early morning hours. Tomorrow morning though, that morning commute should be just fine. in terms of rainfall. And then the evening commute tomorrow, there is scattered rain in the forecast. Looks like a lot of the activity will be east of 75. 79 right now in Immokalee. Good morning. In Lehigh, you're our coolest spot at 75. It is a warm and muggy morning. Naples, especially you, feels like 85. Dew points are in the mid 70s and wind is very light right now. We'll see a light southwest wind this afternoon. Low 90s along the coast. High temperatures will be in the mid 90s inland. Just remember the scattered storms build in later tonight into the evening hours mainly. So your afternoon relatively dry, but you could still get rain on and you can still see some lightning. If you start to hear thunder, you should be indoors. 76 in the morning, high of 92. The rest of the week, scattered rain and thunderstorms, highs low 90s, lows mid 70s.